Hi guys, Randall here, and today we'll talk about the Phoenix Vision card and Esper, analyze them compared to other existing options, and see whether it's worth it to get it now or if you should just build it in the long run. Alright, so first let's take a look at these stats, because that's pretty important for a Vision card. Now, the Phoenix VC, the main use, I think, of this card is to provide your fire characters with some magic resistance. And this is another one of those elemental-specific Vision cards for fire. And so magic resist is the main reason you will want it. But at level 99, it also gives some pierce attack up, and we'll look at the numbers in a minute here. But for these reasons, we are comparing it to Fenrir and Irresistible Darkness for the magic resistance aspect, and then to Dashing Through Snowy Fields for the pierce attack aspect of the card. So first, HP. 362 is pretty high. It's among the high HP Vision cards. Then 142 attack is decent. It's not top tier, but it's also not low. So this is acceptable if you want to put it on a DPS unit. The 60 dexterity doesn't feel that impactful to me. It will increase the crit rate and crit evasion of the unit using it, and also a little bit accuracy. And then a lot of pierce attacks have a dexterity scaling in their damage formula, so that might lead to a little bit of extra damage, but not a lot. So far, the stats are okay, but I would not go for that card just for its stats. So now let's take a look at the abilities that are coming with this card. The unit using it will have 15% more HP, which is pretty good. That will not make a huge difference, but on some units it's going to be around 500 to 600 HP, so that's still okay for especially for tanky characters. Then there will be some form of attack up. We don't know the numbers yet, but from what I've seen before, I'm expecting somewhere around 15 to 20%. So that's going to be nice, but probably not game-changing. The party ability, though, is where things start getting wild. 20% magic resistance to all your fire units is pretty good, especially if you take into account a character like King Mont will now be much more resistant to magical-based attack. And then if you're a fan of Winter Macherie, this card is going to be insane. She already has a pretty good magic resistance, so you get more of that. And then you also get some pierce attack up at level 99, and some extra dexterity, so again, crit chance and a little bit of damage scaling on your piercing attacks. So I think in that regard, it will be a pretty good card. Also, Elde is another fire pierce attacker that will definitely benefit from that card. Now, it does come with an Esper, and I think we have to talk about that. The Phoenix Esper is a really strong one in its specific area. The stats, though, I am not that big a fan. For a 3-star Esper, it is very, very high in terms of HP, higher even than Golem 3-star. But he has a low-ish attack for a 3-star Esper. A lot of them are in the 120 range. And then 13 agility is really slow. It's 1 point higher than Golem, which is still very slow. So your unit equipping this will not go very fast. Then you get some ice resistance and a little bit of water weakness. And the ability, I think, is very interesting. It's an evocation that restores HP in percentage. So you can use this evocation, even if you don't have a healer on your team, to recover some HP on your guys and a massive AoE. So overall, that's pretty cool. It's probably won't be that impactful in a lot of fights, but having the option to heal in a character whose kit doesn't revolve around healing at all, I think is going to be interesting. And it's one of the only healing abilities that doesn't scale with the caster's magic. So it doesn't matter if you're a physical attacker, you can still heal your team for a significant amount using this Esper. Then the board is probably the main reason you want this Esper. First of all, fire attack up 25 will be good for a lot of fire units. You also have the option of going for ice killer or magical creature killer and gain 7 accuracy. Fine, offensive side is pretty standard, but the defensive side of this Esper is where he really shines. First of all, 15 defense, so that's the same amount as you gain from Golem, which is really good. Having defense in an Esper, for me, is a major point in their favor. Then you get the option of having 25 water resist. Now, Phoenix has a 5% water weakness, so overall, if you go for that, your units gets 20% more water resistance. That's very good to mitigate the water weakness of fire units, like, again, King Mont. Also, strike resistance 25 will mitigate King Mont's strike weakness. And in general, if you fight strikers, it's one of the only Espers that give strike resistance, at least in a high amount like this. You could also go for critical evasion, but I think you might want the other stats a little bit more than that. So, overall, yeah, the card is great for Fire Pierce. If you're an Elday or Winter Mastery main, you should definitely go for it. Aside from that, it's also great for King Mont, but more so for the Esper, I think, than for the Vision card. So while the Vision card is good, you also have Fenrir and a lot of other options to gain access to magic resistance, and not everybody will leverage the Fire Pierce side. But the Esper is great. Then reasons why you might not want it is because it's fire exclusive and not every player plays fire characters. And even among fire characters, not a lot of them will leverage more than the magic resistance part of it. So do I feel like players really need to max this card? No. Unless you're playing the characters that this card is really good for, you probably don't need it that much. Should you get the Esper? Yes. That Esper will be good for most players because a lot of them have at least one fire unit that they use, and it doesn't need to be a Pierce unit. But my thought is you probably don't have to pull this card right now if you want the Esper. You will eventually get one pull, and the main reason why people want to pull cards immediately in general is because you get some free shards in the bingo board. But the Esper doesn't matter, you don't need shards for the Esper, so even if you naturally pull the card at some point, you'll have the full power of the Esper immediately. So with this said, my plan is to not pull for the card. I don't really have all those fire units that would leverage it, aside from Winter Mastery, but I don't want to max a Vision card for a single unit when there's so many good things that are coming in the near future. I will be slow building it when I naturally pull it, but I'm not spending 10,000 Viz just to unlock the Esper right now, since I know I'll unlock it eventually. So that's my opinion. So that was it, guys. I'm keeping this one fairly short. Hopefully it helps you in your analysis of whether you want the card or not. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. It will make it more likely that you see my content in the future. And then as always, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.